Welcome to the learners and viewers. Today we are going to see and discuss one another important topic, that is called the corporate social responsibility. This is covered in the Indian Companies Act passed in 2013. Is the new provisions included in the 2013 and the Indian Companies Act. This corporate social responsibility has certain specific background. See, the corporations, when they exist or they function, when they come up, they have certain basic requirements, such as they need a place or a space to function. If it's a production related activities, then they need the large space and areas. Then in addition to that, they also need the local resources. They may have to use the local resources available. Even sometimes this local resource may lead to exploitation also. Exploitation of the resources like water, minerals and all. And also this utilization of the resources, it may lead to a lot of wastages, other consequences also, side effects and all. When the chemical factories are kept and then the wastages are not properly maintained, then it can lead to a lot of consequences, where we have umpteen number of cases where the industrial setup that has caused a lot of loss or injury to the people residing in the nearby places and other neighboring places and all. So therefore, in this background, corporates are engaged either in production or distribution of the goods and services. So when they involve in this process, they have to use their local resources extensively. So therefore, when they, as I said, it leads to exploitation also, wastages also. So therefore, the corporate has the social responsibility to the people, to the people around the living in and around the vicinity of the place where the offices or the production units are set up. Therefore, earlier this responsibility was not imposed before the 2000. It was not imposed on any of them. Rather, it was visualized as the voluntary responsibility. Of course, companies were doing the social services, carrying out social activities, but purely on voluntary basis. But only in the year 2009-13, when by way of the amendment, the Companies Act amendment, it was provided specifically each and every company meeting the specific requirements about which we will discuss at length. They have to discharge certain social responsibilities for the benefit of the people residing in and around only. So this is the background in which the concept of corporate social responsibility was brought within the legal framework of the Indian Companies Act is concerned in the year 2013. Now, that is what. So in a way, we can it refers to a sense of responsibility of the company towards the overall growth and development of the community or region in which they operate. This is what I said. So they have when they come into existence, they have a social responsibility, they have the community responsibility, at least to the people residing within their area. Then the ultimate purpose of corporate social responsibility is to maximize or utilize the maximum shared values among the organizations, among the employees, among the customers, among the shareholders, and not the least the community members. So this purpose is to provide benefits to the members of the community or in the vicinity of the corporate is concerned. And as I said again, the section 135 of the Company Act and coupled with the Schedule 7 contain the mandatory provisions for the companies to fulfill their CSR obligations. Now we are going to discuss about that only in today's discussion. Now let us come to what are the important objectives of the corporate social responsibility. The important objective, one of the objectives of the corporate social responsibility is to create corporate social responsibility fund with the contribution of government or public sector undertakings and private sector companies, and channelize this fund for optimum utilization through sustainable mechanism for development. That's one of that. One is the creation of the funds. Then utilize the resources for the sustainable development of the region concerned. Then the second objective could be to implement various corporate social responsibility projects of a state then imported through credible implementing agents in that area. Sometimes it may not be possible for the corporate to carry out these activities directly, so they can engage or co-opt or associate the local NGOs like local institutes like NGOs. So they may be associated or engaged, they may be interested also to carry out the social objectives of the this purpose of the is concerned. Now, so what are the examples? So some of the examples which are in the Act is that this could be either to conduct activities relating to this corporate social responsibility activities may be related to public health in general. Public health is a very wider concept, the providing from child related to senior citizen and all this, for all those different ages. The health requirements are child health requirements are different, adult requirements are different, then elderly people health requirements are different, and also that is what the to general of the public health development, and also to prevent, but preventive health care, there are certain preventive mechanisms are also preventive health care and sanitation in particular area towards promotion of, and second sanitation related activities. Then second activities could be, one is health related matters, health related preventive and protective, promotional also, and the second with regard to employment, with regard to promotion of employment activities or employment, with the view to enhance the vocational skills and capacity among the youth within that region or within the area. So, first one is the health related activities which will promote the health of the people living in that area. Second could be promotion of employment activity or generation of the employment activities, primarily with the main focus on inculcation of vocational skills among the youth in the living in that area. And the third kind of activity could be promotion of an ecosystem for enhancement of cognitive growth of pre-Anganwadi children, that I set up. It may be to promotion of the ecosystem for the enhancement of growth of the pre-Anganwadi children. Pre-Anganwadi children, they are generally malnutritious and they need several support and all. So that they can target the children of the pre-Anganwadi or children free meal, whatever things, or the distribution of books or distribution of dresses. This type of things can be made available to them for the pre-Anganwadi children and all. The contribution of funds to the technology incubating located within the concerned place. Contribution to the funds for the technology incubators, that can be one action. Or not only these are the very general in nature, specific in very general. In addition to this, any other activities relating to corporate social responsibility as may be prescribed by prescribed under the Companies Act or the rules or under any other central government. So these are the broader activities that could be carried out under the corporate social responsibility framework. Now we are coming to the main, which are the companies applicable, responsible, or which are the companies covered under the social responsibility framework is concerned. Now let us see the coverage of the companies are concerned. This corporate social responsibility provision is applicable to each and every company, including its holding or subsidiary organization, holding company or subsidiary organization, having a net worth of 500 crore or more. That is what the threshold limit for coverage under the corporate social responsibility. Or if it's a net worth is up to 500 crore, if your turnover is taken into consideration, you should have at least 1,000 crore or more. Or the third category is if these two things are not fulfilled, if the company is earning net profit of 5 crore or more. So it is or not and. So by way of net worth, it should have the 500 crore minimum or more than that. If you take the care in the case of a turnover is the criteria, then that 1,000 crore or more. Or if it's both the things are not fulfilled, even if they have the net profit of 5 crore or 4 for during the previous year, for particular year, then those companies are covered under this. These criteria during the immediate preceding the financial, this 500 crore, 1,000 crore and 5 crore related to the previous financial year. This is one of the requirements for the corporate to be governed under the corporate social responsibility framework. Now, this for the Indian companies. Now, with regard to foreign company, First of all, we should understand this corporate social responsibility is applicable not only to the Indian companies but also foreign companies having its branches or offices in India as well. So, it is covered for the foreign companies also. If it is applicable to foreign companies, then what is the criteria? It's applicable to foreign company having its branch office. Either the foreign company should have the branch office in India or project office in India, which fulfill the criteria specified above covered. Again, the same in the case of foreign company, if it's whether it's a project office or the branch office, if they fulfill the 500 crore net worth, turnover of 1000 crore or for profit of 5 crore, then those foreign companies are equally covered under the corporate social responsibility framework. At the same time, there is some exceptional clauses also. There are certain exceptions to this. Those exceptions are if a company ceases to meet above criteria for the last 3 consecutive financial years, it is not required to comply with the corporate social provision till such time it meets the specific criteria. Now, those are the exceptions are if the company which were in the previous year is if those companies which were covered under the corporate social responsibility, if they fail to meet any of these requirements of the 500 crore net worth, 1000 crore of turnover and 5 crore of the net profit during the last 3 consecutive financial years consecutively, then they are not required to say discharge the corporate social responsibility till such time they reach that they meet the specific set criteria. So, this is what the application of the corporate responsibility to the companies are concerned, constitution coverage of the companies are concerned. Now, what are the other requirements? See, once the company has come in the framework of the corporate social requirement, what are their duties and responsibilities, what they have to, the do's and don'ts. The first and foremost is that each and every company coming under the definition of the corporate social responsibility, they first and foremost they is required to constitute a corporate social responsibility committee of the board. So, that first and foremost, the board should constitute a corporate social responsibility committee consisting of several members, maximum that, and the members include consisting of 3 or more directors. So, the CSR committee should consist of the directors of the company, three members at least, and out of these 3 board members, the director shall be an independent director. In the company, there is a concept of independent director. So, that out of the 3, one should be independent director. The purpose, the independent director is in a position to take, impartial decision. He will not have any interest in the company. So, that his contribution is very, very substantial, because the company director, they have vested interest in the company affairs. So, they may not, there may be a little scope for, they may not be inclined to do undertake proactive activity. So, we have to bring a balance between the board of directors of the company. This independent director also they have been asked to co-opt or co-sit the independent director. If a company is not required to appoint an independent director as per law, the requirements are the guidelines are, the requirements are given which are the company should appoint the independent directors. Suppose the company is not required to appoint the independent director, then it shall have in 2 or more directors of the committee only. So, they need not, as per if they fail to fulfill the criteria laid down for the appointment of independent director, they need not. Then in such cases, consider 2 directors in the case of private company having only 2 directors of the board. Private companies, 2 directors of the board is sufficient to constitute a corporate social responsibility committee. Then consisting of at least 2 persons in case of foreign company, 2 persons is sufficient in the case which 1 person shall be its authorized person resident of India. In the case of foreign companies, there must be 2 persons, out of which 1 person must be a resident in authorized person resident in India. So, Indian should be one among the 2 members concerned. So, this is what are the constitution of the corporate social committee, which is a very, very important body, which is vested with the responsibility to frame projects, schemes, and including the monitor the implementation of this corporate social responsibility schemes are concerned. Now we shall now see what are the functions of corporate social responsibility committee, because the committee is created for the specific purpose and objective, and they have to given the specific mandate also. What are these mandate? Let us see. Now the mandates are include formulation and recommendation to the board a CSR policy which shall indicate the activities to be undertaken by the company as specified in the Schedule 7. Now I will discuss with the Schedule 7 later. Schedule 7 of this Companies Act 2013 contains the various type of activities that may be undertaken by the company. So the activities are broadly given under that. So that's what we will see it later. Now, and the functions of one of the functions is that it is the responsibility of the corporate social committee to frame policies or projects and indicate the activities or identify the activities to be undertaken by the company broadly. What we discuss, like health, it may be related to health, it may be related to education, it may be related to the Anganwadi children, or it may be related to senior citizen, it may be anything and all. So therefore, then the committees also have the another function is to recommend the amount of expenditure to be incurred on the authorities referred in the board. So the second function is they have to also work out the expenditure to be incurred during the year or so. Like let us say the minimum amount should be spent is 2% of the net profit of the previous year. So they have to work it out. They have to arrive at what is that amount they have to spend. Then that amount has been recommended as a expenditure to be incurred to the board. So the board will in a position to give a financial approval for that company, so that the money is they are in a position to utilize the money for the undertaking the social activities by the company is concerned. Then another important for the CSR committee is not only first is the formulation of the schemes, second one recommendation of the amount of expenditure to the for approval, a third one after the sanction of the amount, approval of the amount, then the function this committee should monitor the policy of the company from time regularly. They have to quarterly review may be taken, or half-yearly or monthly or weekly or fortnightly. They may review the progress of the scheme or the activities. So accordingly, if there is any policy requirement or decisions are required, any addition, modifications are required, they may suggest for making such additions, modification, alterations and all. Then lastly, to institute a transparent monitoring mechanism for implement of CSR projects or programs of activities. They have to work out a transparent mechanism for implementation of CSR projects or program activities. Maybe they can have different methods, mechanism for the purpose of implementing the projects are concerned. These are the broader functions of the CSR committee is concerned. Now, what is the responsibility of the board of directors? We referred about the board of directors. What are the responsibilities of the board of directors? The board of directors of every company covered the CSR policy should, after considering the recommendation made by the CSR committee, approve the CSR policy for the company and discuss contents of such policy in their board report. There are two responsibilities that they have to approve the CSR policy framed and submitted by the CSR committee. And this policy should be discussed in content the board meeting, and it's also find part of the board report of the concerned company for the relevant year. So this is the primary responsibility and duty of the board of directors of the company. So their annual report of the company must find a reference about the various type and kind of corporate social responsibility activities undertaken by the company. Then the next major responsibility of the board of directors are to ensure that the activities are include the policy of the company or undertaken by the company. It is also the board of directors, they should also review the progress made in the CSR policy and the project approved by them, so that again to find out how far the progress is going on. If there is any shortfall or the shortcoming, they can suggest measures to overcome such shortcomings and all. Then the board should also discuss the composition of the CS committee. The board report, the board of directors also should include in the company's annual board report what is the composition of CS committee, who are the members, what is the role and function. That should also find a place in that board report is concerned. The board should also ensure that the company spends at least 2% of the average net of the company made in the year during the last 3 years immediately preceding the financial year. That means each and every year the company should spend at least 2% of the average net from the company made during the last 3 financial years. That is what the benchmark for quantifying the amount to be spent in a particular year. In first one, it's CSR policy. The CSR projects, programs, activities under in India only shall amount to CSR expense. Very important thing. With regard to foreign companies, what are the projects undertaken in India alone will be considered as a CSR expenditure. Any money spent under the CSR outside India, that will not qualify as an expenditure covered in the CSR framework. Now, one important thing to be noted is the company shall give preference to the local area. That is very, very important. From the very beginning, I am highlighting the important local area and areas around it where it operates for spending the amount earmarked for CR activities and shall specify the reasons for not spending the whole of the earmarked amount if it fails to spend some in the some during the in the report. So what it says, no, for one reason or other, if the company is not in a position to spend or utilize the earmarked amount for a particular year, then the reason for not in a position to spend the full amount must find a place and reference the board report of the company's annual board report of the company's concerned. Then CS policy is that we have seen it already. Now, Schedule 7, very briefly, that is very important. Schedule 7 contains the activities which may be included by the companies in their corporate social responsibility policies, and these activities are related to education, eradicating hunger, poverty, malnutrition, promoting health care, including preventive health care, and sanitation, including contribution to Swachh Bharat course set up by the central government for the promotion of the sanitation and making available safe drinking water. So these are the activities that could be covered under the corporate social responsibility as per the Schedule 7 is concerned. The second measure could be, we have discussed already, promoting education, including special education, so special education to the disabled persons or differently able persons, and employment in enhancing vocational skills, especially among children, women, elderly, and differently abled and living. Then this we have seen already. Then promoting gender equality, empowering women, related to one could be one. Then ensuring environmental sustainable ecological balance. That is protection of the environment is very, very important. Maintain ecological balance is very, very important. Otherwise, we will face a lot of problems and the eco-related problems there. Then protection of the flora and fauna. This we have the certain species products. Those things has to be maintained, preserved. Animal welfare, agroforestry, conservation of natural resources, and maintaining quality of the soil, air and water, including conform to the Clean Ganga Fund set up by the central government for regeneration of the river Ganga. Likewise, any expenditure contributed towards this broader national goals that also be covered and considered as activity in the CSR. Then protection of national heritage, art and culture, including restoration of building and the sites of historical importance. We have our national heritage buildings like Taj Mahal or whatever the things are the important national heritage buildings. So if they spend money towards the protection of the sites, that can also be covered. And works art, setting up even our own, we have our own arts, traditional arts that can be promoted and all. Certain specific area, woolen carpet making, wool making, even our local arts, if they that may be protected or promoted. Silk making also, there are different types of activities, needs protection and all. Then this activity related to this can be other one. Then measures for the benefit of the armed forces, veteran armed forces who have met with the war, some accidents, who have lost their job or war widows also. For them, they can do some educational activities. They can provide employment related skills and training also. So that can also cover under this. Then training to promote rural sports, that is very, very important. Nationally recognized sports, Para-Olympic sports and Olympic sports. So the companies interested in promoting sports, They can also promote the local at the local level sports activities of the national level, or including national level activities also. Then contribution to Prime Minister National Relief Fund, State Minister, Chief Minister Fund, PM funds are there, several things are. So contribution to this also be covered under the expenditure covered in the corporate social responsibility scheme. Then this is the latest amendment made very recently about the contribution to incubators funded by the central government or state government or any agency or public sector undertaking of the central government or state government, or contribution to public funded universities like IGNOU and all, or IITs, national laboratories or autonomous bodies established under the auspices of the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, ICR, DAE, DRDO, like any contribution made to this research and development organization, that may also be covered under the expenditure covered under the corporate social responsibilities concerned. Then in addition to that, rural undertaking rural development projects, maybe depending on the area specific, maybe for enhancement of this water development of the water projects, or providing drinking water to the people of the country, people of the area, or to provide local employment to the people residing in that area. So rural development projects, or slum area development also for the semi-urban and urban areas, slum to this money spent on development of slum areas. So there are any facilities provided to the people living in the slum area, that can also be covered under the corporate social responsibility scheme. So for the purpose of this item, slum area shall mean any area declared as such by, of course this for the definition. And next most important, disaster management, including relief, rehabilitation and reconstruction. Like there are two types of natural calamities, man-made disaster, natural disaster. So we both the activities, disaster management, wherever the earthquake or due to any other accident takes place, flood, excessive flood, these are very common phenomena. The earthquake and the floods are very, very common regular feature. So undertaking relief activities by the companies during this period, that may also be covered under the activities in the corporate social responsibility. Though some of this, some best practices in India, Tata groups are doing good work on the corporate social responsibility. The Tata Group engages in healthcare projects, Tata Groups, such as the facilitation of children education, immunization, and the creation of awareness of AIDS. They are undertaking these activities. Other areas include economic empowerment through agriculture programs, environment protection, providing sports scholarships, and infrastructure development such as hospitals, research centers, educational institutions, sports activities, and cultural activities. So the Tata Group is doing wonderful job under these are some of the best practices they are adopting. And there we will look into then Ultratech Cement. They are also doing a large number of CSR activities. So that being the biggest company involved in the social across 470 villages in the country, aiming to create sustainable and self-reliance. They have adopted the 407 villages. CXR activities focus on healthcare and family welfare programs, education, infrastructure, environment, social welfare, and sustainable livelihood. So the company has organized medical camps, immunization program, sanitation program, social enrollment, plantation drives, water conservation program, including training and organic farm programs. So these are Ultratech Cement company. Then Mahindra also. The Mahindra this year from investing scholarships and grants, livelihood training. They are also they provide livelihood training. They provide a scholarship to the needy people. Then also under healthcare for a remote area, people in the remote areas. Then they undertake water conservation projects. They also engage in the disaster relief programs. And Mahindra runs programs such as Nani Kali, focusing on the child education of girl child. These are the activities undertaken the Mahindra and Mahindra. Now the ITC group, also biggest hotel group, they are also engaged in this. They have the IT packaging sector has been focusing on creating sustainable livelihood and environment protection program. The company has been able to generate sustainable livelihood opportunity for 6 million people through its CSR activities. Their e-Chopal program, which aims to connect rural farmers through the internet for procuring agricultural products, covers 40,000 villages and over 4 million farmers. It's a social and farm forest program, assist farmers in covering watershed to poleward plantations. social empowerment programs through micro enterprises or loans have created sustainable livelihoods for over 40,000 rural women. So these are some of the best practices have been just called out from our records and all. So with this, we conclude the discussion on their corporate social responsibility. For rest of the matters, please look to our study material, and you can have more understanding, knowledge in the subject. With this, we thank you once again for hearing to this discussion. Thank you very much, please.